the sort of swap out there brought another big gun into the game, and it made them more malleable, which is something I love to see from them.
And that's the thing, and you know, we mentioned that, you know, BDS, he's one of the best supports in the world and the best flank watcher, but they as well, if they need to step up, they will step up. They'll take up that fragging role upon themselves, and that's what BDS makes. What makes BDS so scary, because often when we're, for example, looking at their cafe, and they cannot quite clear out the utility you need to on the top floor, they just snap their fingers, all 5 rush in and win the round. Somehow they get away with it. And that's because there are all these amazing guns.
Well,
I think we're going to see a bit more of a push coming in.
That's a response to rush rounds that went away from them. I mean, Warden, he's in a fun situation right now where there's not really anything that directly counters his ability. The MPX with an extended barrel can be a heck of a gun. Valkyrie and Warden means that we're not going to see it in this showdown at all, both removed. But it removes that stop against the blinding plays of the Ying, the Candelas, and the smokes. Hey, who's that? Oh, that's Ying. They're already up there on the board.
I was going to say, like, them just removing that is going to show that we are going to be seeing more quick-paced rounds coming down from Cyclops.
Yeah.
I don't know whether or not to be afraid of that.
But it's border. It's something that you give an idea of. As we said before, Monty, you just remove it against Cyclops. It's, you know, it's sort of known. It's how games get played, and fair enough.
Frost on the board as well is going to be stopping some of the window jump-ins from Cyclops. Maybe tucked around some of the corners as well to stop default plant positions. If they do go quick, that's often where you catch them off, but as the Ying gets 6 picked off to a Nomad, the Hibana turns into an ace, and that slows it down a little bit more. Turning to an Ossa, so no heart breach.
No. One of the things from the previous map it's worth noting, I walked through, saw a lovely talent in the green room, including self-proclaimed genius Demo, because all of his predictions...
I have to throw him under the bus for a second.
Well, let me finish my story.
Okay, you can do that first.
Self-proclaimed genius Demo, because all of his predictions come through, and he said, seeing BDS have the responses they did to Cyclops, the one factor that they're not used to, those rushes, he is now so confident in BDS taking this.
The thing is, though, when he was the guest analyst at the European League and APAC North, he made a bold statement saying that Cyclops was going to win the Invitational.
Yeah, he did.
But he now doesn't have faith in them anymore.
I mean,
BDS.
Hey, it's been a couple of months.
It's been a couple of months. I'm just saying.
Self-proclaimed genius. Talking of Black-Gray, they're looking to try and pinch this player underneath. It's Lee K-Fak, and there's somebody on detention, somebody on, and then somebody's getting out of there. He's not going to sit around and see what happens if 3 Cyclops players decide to try and drive themselves through you, and fair enough. They get that clarity from underneath. Pop the grenade on the player to see if anybody is underneath the door, but there isn't. They now have the angle and the watch. They're hoping somebody tries to get a response, and, well, nobody has. Did you see that, though? They actually just ran out, baited the ping, and then went back in. They sort of tried to see if they can draw some attention from it, maybe keep them guessing a little bit longer. And Shiro, he's looking down the hatch. He's playing quite aggressive, but Cyclops have pulled themselves back in. They're sort of prodding. This is what we talk about, this map being paper thin. That's almost 3 engagements that we've already seen in entirely different rooms over the past 20 seconds.
Now, the complete bottom floor was under control by Cyclops, but I believe they've basically all fallen back. Blacker will still find the kill onto Leakefak though, and then it's an instantly trying to fight back through these hatches to find a second. His grenades are starting to follow up. It's actually an aggressive push down the metal stairs, which will find a kill. Alems takes down Anaton, instantly rotates back up, knowing there's still players below.
Look at this, Alems, he's trying to see if he can put the pressure back down. They've got some awareness and opening underneath them. It's dangerous territory, but the site is one they've got to push themselves up to. The shield gives them some swing. Shaiko gets the swing. Gator gets caught out, and the Ossa shield can only really watch. They have the kit, they have some idea, but without anything else really offering it, they've just got to try and drive for the pressure in the plant itself. There is a single player. Renshiro tucked on the other side of a soft. He's been playing this before. The impact swung. He thought the shield was deployed. The bait of the play, and Gully's going to keep pushing. Here's the Grismot. Go gets got. Bride gets caught. Suzu C gets one, and Suzu C! On the back end, Cyclops, from things starting to fall apart, pulls it together and pulls the first round.
Well done there, and a slight slip up there by BDS going for that impact. That might have been the decisive factor, because suddenly Arkley can take that side under control. He can find himself inside, cut off the rotation instantly, and you find yourselves in just a big disadvantage if you are the defenders at that point. So Cyclops take the first. They did that in the previous round as well. Those first 3 rounds, that is when BDS struggled. They needed to match the game of Cyclops as they went. So we're going to give them those 3 rounds. Let them see if there is anything different, if there's anything they need to get used to. As Grim being brought back, we are seeing the bees. Maybe.
I mean, we'll see it if it gets locked in. We'll see if it sort of pieces together. The swap of the Grim from the Nomad, even. It's also partnered with a swap. There it is. Back to the Nomad, Ayagator. I was going to say it's partnered with the Dockerby from the Ace, so there is still a catch on loose players, but they're still going to set themselves up with the Nomad, because there's a caution paid. Look at Lemps in the pockets of the Oryx. I was going to talk about this operator a little bit before. Think of how you think of Oryx on a coastline. If you're not really familiar with how this can work, it can be so quick and deadly. There's a lot of hatches. They're spread out around the 4 sort of corners of the map and spaces that you can dig your way up from. Well, 3 in this case, because one of them is just a big open space with 2 stories. It gives you a lot of routes. It gives you a lot of options, and it makes getting clarity over your roam clear tricky with an Oryx.
It definitely does, but they swapped off the Nomad as well, so they're really going to be reliant onto drones and the potential phone calls to come through, which the first already has been used. And not really any ground being gained here by the Cyclops members, except, of course, for the fact that there is a player currently inside the 90, just holding down the middle of the side, spots the Azami of Shaiko. That's the head taken off. That's the second one. No. The response from Lems is there.
Yeah, they're a very important fight to lean in, but look how much damage they've taken. Oh, look, they've taken a little bit more. Anderton and Arkley both removed either side, with EFAC getting one back of his own. Suddenly a 3 versus 2. Suzuki on the sandwich window sees the toesies, but doesn't quite get the rest of the player, as EFAC's able to pull himself a little bit further away. A C4 still in pocket, but look at how much time there is. The drone caught out, playing themselves above, gets rid of the mute jammer, but gets themselves the angle and the watch down on the split side. They've popped themselves in, and they're trying to look for the fight above inside the bathroom, hoping to get the rotate, but the positions of BDS are, well, both on the second story.
Yeah, they don't really have a safe way down either, because they're unaware of the positioning of these Cyclops players. So using any hatch most likely will result in your immediate death, as those are, well, probably going to be watched, or at least players near them. As Suzuki is clearing it out, they're also figuring out that, okay, so this entire luggage area is clear, the tellers is clear. I think we can just straight up walk right into it. As he walks into the verticalities, the leak effect that takes down Anaton, suddenly it's a 2-on-2. Diffuser still down, could be picked up in just a couple of seconds, but that forces Arcurley to take the gunfight himself as well. He's going to do that, but doesn't quite connect to the shots, and leak effect leans in again, finds the kill. And a 3-on-1 turn into a 2v1. Suzuki, the last man standing, and MK14 and Diffuser in pocket. 45 seconds to play with, but these Banshees are going to be giving away the game. What's he going to do? How's he going to be playing this out? Verticality in favor of BDS. If he walks through this door, that is going to be almost guaranteed death. Somehow still makes it through. Digs himself in deep. The Diffuser is going down. Are they aware? Definitely putting up some pressure. He rotates around, tries to find a second spot, but there's openings everywhere. There's verticalities everywhere. There's no safe spot for him to just hold F.
Oh, look at that. Renshiro just sort of leaning around, offering a bit of a spritz and a spray, and there's the rest of it. They never handed over the vertical ground, an important part of the play. It'll often seem, you know, people pull clutches by retaking it. At this point, they just sort of never gave it up. They said, if you want to try and take that fight, you can take it, but it doesn't mean you'll be very successful. Bathroom tellers. We'll head on to next, potentially. There's still time, and there's still options here. Hey, look at that. They're back. Ying and the Glaz. We haven't had it yet.
It's not been locked in yet.
It's not been locked in yet. Maybe they were waiting for a bathroom teller site.
Could be it. Could be what they're waiting for. I mean, if you start to think about it, right? If you manage to smoke that off and somehow stop anybody from using the wall inside a bathroom by taking ventilation under control, surely you could go for a bit of a quick push and instantly plan outside the window, but it's quite a dangerous move to go by. Fun fact, by the way, for the first time in 12 rounds, the opening kill did not result into the round conversion for this game. Cyclops managed to get the opening kill, but not the win as BDS took that round. So overall, it's been pretty much who gets that first kill takes that round. Shows you the importance of that first initial kill, that the aggression can pay off to you.
5 seconds left.
If we talk about verticalities, this is another important one. You sort of get yourself control here over the top of bathroom. You make sure you get a bit of a stretch. That the aggression there at the top of the stair set. They're going to try and buy themselves some time. They have to rotate at the triple wall as well. BDS is sort of saying, well, we're not going to give you anything over directly above the site or even the outside of it too.
There's a lot of verticality on the fountain that they're creating into workshop, so really wanting to make sure that no free ground is being given away in the workshop towards the bathroom. Making sure they can start and continue to challenge that. Now, CAG is very close on the B window. Drones are here as well. Doesn't spot any PC utility that could give away his intended plan. He does have the diffuser. He does have smokes, but he's also the one that can look through these smokes.
Has the gun 6. Nobody's going to get blinded by that, but the audio will give a bit of a game away. They're on the far opposite end. There's the smokes. There's the cover. There's nothing handed to him, so instead goes for another deeper smoke. There will be intel. There's play and spray that's coming from above. That's what's just done the damage to CAG. He's lost a little bit, and Breede's still rock solid. CAG does find efac, though, and it's the 2 remaining players over the top of the hatch just suffering a bit. That's behind you, Shaiko, unfortunately. That seemed to come from the far end. You can see the player off on the opposite end of Armory. That is the problem of opening up that much of that. So now they're going to see if they can get the watch over the top. They didn't fully commit to the plant and the push. Fair enough. They're able to get the first. They didn't quite get the lockdown on the second. Iagator at least drew some attention, but with CAG finally getting the end of Shaiko, they have a 2-body advantage. Renshiro going hyper-aggressive, caught out by a drone, has to pull back.
CAG still on the side, by the way, with that diffuser. He's just not planting because it's not quite safe, and now decides to stick to it, but he's still afraid of the hatch to be used. But he needs to be afraid of something else because they're trying to retake the ground now. This keeper barrier is actually going to be providing them some safety, but it's going to be a double kill to come through. It is going to be a thorn device, though, that stops one of them from moving in. Breede now needs to push close with that shotgun, stops that diffuser from getting planted, but a minute left on the clock in a 1v3. He is stuck in this position. He's stuck in the bathroom.
I mean, we talked about him being a clutch master. This is the hardest one he'll ever have to win, and he doesn't. Black Grey had the lockdown from before Cyclops. They got an advantage, and they made sure they didn't suffer because of it. Okay, the kit planter got caught just at the very end of that before they could truly get it locked in. But the fact that they'd done all the other work to make sure they were in a position, it's not just a matter of getting the kit down. We saw that demonstrated better than anything in the last round of Skyscraper. Yeah. If you don't have the network, if you don't have the logistics to keep that player supported, to keep that diffuser protected, you may as well just throw the round in as much as you're throwing yourselves into the building.
I'm still kind of intrigued by the fact that, you know, you use that glass to cover through a smoke. That's the point of the glass. You can see through as one of the 2 operators that have the ability to, Warden being the other, currently banned. And then just jumping in that smoke as you're the only one that can actually look through, take so much damage. You're literally a bullet from every single gun away from death. Managed to find 2 kills, still survive in that bathroom, no one being there to stop you or tell you otherwise. And then, like, get the plan down, or try to at least in the last 30 seconds of that round. It's like that man survived on like 10 HP in the middle of the site for like 2 minutes straight. And that's an adaptation now. It's going to be Frostmat.
Yeah. It's a...
So Razor Bloom shell next to it.
The Razor Bloom actually did get a kill on the previous well. It wasn't the one on the window, but there was a Razor Bloom that got a kill elsewhere. I did enjoy the Azami to cover up the player on that window.
Just moved a bit too quickly.
Just moved a little bit too quickly behind it. And, it, you know, it was a clever adaptation. They knew where the kit was going down. BDS had the awareness. They're quite good at getting that sharpness on the intel. But, as I said before, the importance of friendship was shown off. The importance of ow is suffered on the wrong end of Alems there, caught in 90. But Renshiro does find Black Ray as a bit of cover, as a bit of support, and Alems is able to actually slink away and escape.
Getting those entry kills are very important in this game so far. Opening made, Likafek is looking to provide some returning fire to one of the attackers that's outside detention wall. Not going to be able to open that up, at least not now. They need to be using an extra Selma. That allows Likafek to just hold on tight now as Aegator looking to snoop around, but using the window against them, or maybe even enter from the main entrance, see what he can do from there on. Looking to see if there's any goo mines down on the ground. Not the case. But if he passes, Likafak should be able to just pick him up freely.
The roll of the drones, hoping to catch the loose player, gets caught out, and Arkuli going to just sort of keep himself propped up and ready for an engagement that might otherwise break across it. BDS still have a long stretch, and he just misses his moment. Looks to lean back into the fight onto Fountain, but pulls back, hoping not to get sprayed through the soft. They are still stacked up in that position. There's drones still coming from the side of Armory. This is a bit of a no man's land. If he can go unchecked, it's big. Doesn't go unchecked, but does get revenge, at least for the kill that goes against them. Did they just see the tip of a gun there on the little tuck, there it is, and there it isn't. Shaiko is able to get Arcully off the board. Minute 10. 4 versus 2. They found one body, but it was the one that was almost taken out pretty immediately. So the rest of BDS are still sitting kind of happy.
Oh, no, that's just a 2-round burst coming through the head of Anaton, leaving it only up to CCC with that diffuser. And where they managed to find themselves inside very early on the last time around is now up to him to try and make that 1v4 clutch happen. He just found the first, as you saw, Leak Effect taken off the board. But there's still a player on the east. There's still going to be a player near the offices, and then one roaming around as well. No one directly on the side, but they don't need to be. They have that verticality. And as soon as he gets too close to Breed A, that's going to be a double swing coming through.
All of that's being yellow pinged as well. They've got an eye on him from somewhere, and they're making sure that it's put well together here. CCC pops himself back in, gets himself set up slightly elsewhere. It's a dangerous drive here. There's a fight over the top. You know that it's going to get swung on from somewhere else, and they have to rotate out. He's expecting it, but with 20 seconds, let's not give it to him. You can see the players got underneath. They know where the kit is. They know where it needs to go. It's not going to get there. 2 apiece.
Was such a Shaiko move as well, by the way. When he gets shot in the back, he just turns around. He's like, okay, I'll take this fight. That's fine. I trusted myself. What do you say to me? Said it to my face again. Wow. I don't know what Gator is talking about, but he's very impressed.
He did get popped by the 2-shot.
Woo. Yeah, very true.
It's very different to some of the other old chats that we've had.
Yeah, for sure.
On the day-to-day.
For sure. Especially their pre-games are let's classify it as different. As we head towards the workshop and the ventilation, again, the frost mats are being brought in, and this is just a direct counter to Cyclops' preferred playstyle, which is opening, Shift W, and maybe tap spacebar if you're next to a window. And they want to stop that. They want to stop it dead in their tracks, make sure they actually need to work for that entry, and make sure they need to think about where they want to be jumping in from. And of course, there is ways around it, don't get me wrong. Just a single grenade is going to be taking down that frost mat, but that is extra preparation, extra time, extra sound, which will give it away to BDS and allow them to get into a better area to deal with said situation. As for now, they're still roaming around. We see a bit of a heavy presence towards the CCTV area, but the Blitz is now finally on the board by Anaton. He's again putting a shield on his back. It's not something you often see from that Blitz. It might just be for extra movement speed as we go from the start, but...
+2 defense.
It's actually minus like 10 defense.
What?
Yeah. Suddenly you're no longer bulletproof if you phase an enemy.
Oh, that's true.
It's crazy.
You can reverse in.
You can reverse it, you just can't shoot back anymore.
This is the danger, though, because we've seen how vertical defines this site. We've seen how it defines the push. You know, sure, you might have been able to get yourself a little pocket, but it was shooting into the toes. The pop of the candelas over the top, the blinds at sandwich window, they're right in onto the site and they're right out. Breed A has the lockdown on one, hopped up, the Blitz goes around, gets the drop onto the next. Anaton gets caught by a Lems from the far end. There's the Lems traded out. Arcully has one, catches the Banshee, gets caught in the face by Shaiko. It has been blow for blow and trade for trade, and Cyclops have come off worse for wear. But Black-Gray, well, he's able to at least put the balance back in. The one benefit to a rush, a lot of time. The downside, you now got to try and piece together the rest of what is left. And hey, remember when there was 2 players with the vertical control? Hey, remember when it was like Likefak and Renchiro? Hey, remember how that round ended? Oh yeah, it was in a BDS favor.
Diffuser also down into an area where they, I think, can easily hold it from up above if they want to. So it's going to be even harder task to recover this. They have it, that verticality indeed. So it's going to be very tough to recover. A window jump in out of the question as well due to that frost mat being out there. And once Renchiro's holding tight, he's definitely going to be spelling out some feet there. Knows one is going to be on that main door. Holds his fire. Oh, the smoke grenade coming in. That's actually very big. Brain is allowing them to potentially move in now.
Well, they're going to try and find an angle. It's Gator from range over the top of sandwich window. Black-Gray just drives up the stairs. They covered and baited the movement and the motion. They're looking for this last player. It's a 2 versus 1, but it's Renchiro. And he's tucked himself by the hatch. 50 seconds is a lot of time for him to try and survive here in the 2 versus 1. And with the kick going down, Black-Gray goes down too, but they heard that. They heard the drop. Oh, there's a lot of damage done. The Finker gets themselves a bit of health, but you can quickly see the movement to the top of the hatch. Iagator, he's looking for the fight. He's going to hit the beepers and cause a bit of awareness, and Ranchiro will hear that going. He might be a bit concerned. They're still holding off. They're making it a 2 versus 1. They're trying to force the fight. BlackRay's going to see if he can stick it this time. The reveal of the player, the tuck round on the back, the rotate, the spray. Oh, he gets the catch, Ranchiro! Big brains and breaks away from the fight once again. Iagator picks the kid up and goes to see if he can lock it down pretty much instantly. The movement is now going to be down to the opposite side, Ranchiro. He doesn't have an impact, but he has a gun that can do a lot of sprays. However, he's only got 2 clips left in it, so he can't do that move too many times. On the far end, they're watching for the rotate. They're tucked behind the bomb chassis and round on a corner. He's forcing the fight to come from a specific angle, but it's going to come from the one door he's not currently watching. So Iagator is able to get that locked in. The response from the last time it went away from them, this time they took the vertical fight.
Well done by Cyclops there again. That smoke forcing them to reposition just slightly, and even though the initial rush didn't work out at all, they managed to recover it. You mentioned it, a lot of time left on the board. You can start working your way in slowly, and as soon as you bring it back to equal numbers, it's a lot more doable. Especially if BDS still worried about a platform happening due to those smokes, trying to get themselves in better positions and being caught off as a result of it. And that puts us in the lead of Cyclops. Just a single round for now on their attack. I mean, they've definitely been doing better than they did in the last map. Of course, they will have to keep that up as the sides will change in just this next round, because Border is one of those maps that is actually attack-sided overall.
Over to Customs. For this, the last chance at a hold and the last chance to see if they can get this locked in. It's a little bit of a wiggle room site. It's not the most disliked, but it can be a bit awkward depending on how the teams like to approach it. And with Cyclops, you never really know how they're going to approach it. It seems like slower and steadier rather than some of their usual MO here. They've got a good break and breach. They should be able to get that detention wall open itself pretty easily. There's also a way of utilizing those thermite charges to get open the wall on the back end, regardless of what is put on it. It makes things a bit awkward there, as you see, on the eastern side of the site, because, well, you've suddenly got an entirely open can of worms.
Flores drone coming through, is just trying to find some crucial piece of utility, and that's going to be the bubble, the evil eye taken out. That is going to be oversight on the entire site gone now. Maestro only just finding out about what happened.
No,
no,
Mamma mia.
My bubble is gone. And now having to just provide overwatch himself, as the tension is going to be opened up. Doesn't seem like there's any reply coming through. No opening made with the Bailiff, for example, to try and attempt a impact trick to go through. Of course, Shaka the only one carrying them and nowhere near the site.
This is where the problem comes through, though. Hey, what's that? Border? Where you need to have a vertical hold? Yeah, that's right. You find the same here on the site. That is why there's only really a single player underneath. You've got to get yourself locked in on CC. They have some angles and problems here, caused down from 90, and there it is. There's sometimes a shield at the far end. Instead, they have this tiered system of Aruni gates, but look at this. Inside the site, looking for the break-dancing Maestro, glances right over the top of him, but just heard the pop of the secondary, and there it is. Gets the first fight, looks for the second around the back end, caught by the camera, didn't quite get it locked in. The pings are coming through, and EFAC's going to see if he can try and get some response and revenge for Renshiro dropped inside the site, but it's Bride that gets Arcully in the meantime. Once again, we see this vertical turning into a bit of a problem because it's left a little bit untested. The pops through, the chance at finding Likefak isn't quite his yet.
It's a DMR against a DMR. This one is a highly powered scope compared to the other one. The head just missed there. The ping's coming through, and that's the kill for Likefak to still come in. He, well, took the ground after the initial strike came through on the teller's area. Managed to avert that crisis and put themselves in a 2-man advantage here.
Shaiko moved towards the fight in the hope of somebody moving in close behind it, but it was really just to do this. Allow them in, see if they can get the kit planted, but a rotate's coming around. They have a lot of awareness. That's how the team functions. Got one, looks for the second fight, slips themselves round and just sees it, but caught out. Lems is alive, but very wounded, and with only 40 seconds, they're going to see if they can try and dig their way through. The castle wall is causing a couple of problems. They're going to maybe hit the hatch and get a Lems up. They still have the vertical control, though, and that's sort of the be-all and end-all. They don't even need to go for the player as of this moment in time. They know they're trying to dig and fight their way around. They know where the kid is. They've got that put down on the floor because of the hold above, so why give that up? Giving themselves more angles themselves, making things problematic. I mean, this is entirely how you try and hold this. Lessons to be learned. This is the power of having a second story.
It is, and with 7 seconds left, there's no way Suzu C is going to be locking this one off. Confirms that kill for the statistics. Pushes up with the last second, but gets taken down by Bride. And that brings us to an even half here. And we mentioned it before, Border is slightly attack favored. They probably would have liked to have 4 rounds here on Cyclops, because now they go over to the defense. And they're going to be up against the French powerhouse, the current reigning major champions. And if there's something we have seen over the course of the years, that if a team wins a giant tournament like a major or the 6 Invitational, they drop off instantly afterwards. But BDS not really having shown that yet in their performance against Cyclops. Of course, it is still early days.
Protect your bombs from being defused by attackers.
But it is a team that has been on the top for, well, the majority of the last 3 years. Never really having to win until Yunchiping, but, you know. That's crossed off now. That's a whole lot of pressure removed off their shoulders.
Getting a major was once upon a time impossible. Then it became very possible, you know? And then it became this sort of situation. They were always the group favorites. It's always the thing to remember here. As BDS, there was never really a shadow of a doubt that people expected them to come in. It's not like some of the other groups where there is some hit and miss moments. There's some chances for upset. With how BDS have been playing, they are the opposite of the underdog. They're the overdog.
Okay, yeah, the overdog. Or just the dog, yeah.
Dog?
I'm fine with that.
Is it dog and underdog, or is it overdog and underdog?
I don't think it's called overdog or dog.
I'm not going to...
Oh, it's the overcat, according to Easy.
Overcat, underdog.
Overcat.
You didn't say that to Maya, only to you.
I'm sorry, I'll relate to you.
Thank you. The overcat. They're the overcat of this group, and they're ready to pounce. They're looking for a dig through. Nook. Just taking out that core camera, and it's in the pockets of, well, a surprise factor here. Likefak. He's had some bigger moments this game so far, and now he has the chance to try and finish this off and cement it. Shaiko still on the positive that he had before, but if they can start getting this as a twofer here, these grenades underneath, a good play towards that shield. The pressure does force the player out. There's nobody to get the lock-in on the kill, and they don't quite get the full damage they wanted.
Bit of damage done to Aegator, but not confirmed as he just walked by. Just waiting for the next ping to come through now. Likefak also waiting for the hatch, because a potential drop could always come through. Grenades coming up from above is definitely going to be moving out these players into different areas of the office. Might actually catch Bandits!
Oh!
And it's a good stuck on the desk right there, and that's the entry kill for BDS.
What a disaster there, played against them. They sure had an impression that players were playing on that wall, but getting grenaded out, it's just a cost that really isn't paid too often, because you expect that play. They had nothing to try and catch it, even with the Wamai in pocket. Of 2 grenades thrown, or 4 grenades thrown even, 2 of them came from the top here. Or maybe even 3, actually. There was 6 grenades at the start. Okay, maybe they just burnt through the Wamais and still found success. They find it. Arkali gets caught out. No more discs coming from them either way.
Arkali droned out there. He probably didn't know how close he was to be picking up a guaranteed kill as Lems goes down. Black Wraith will find him, and Aegator now on a bit of a flank. And Shaiko does confirm the kill. It's the East Stairs that is now back under control of Cyclops. Black Wraith in 90 as well, is looking to retake Fountain. Shaiko is still quite close. He might... Aegator?
Aegator, they're real.
Oh, no, wait. The wig?
Aegator! Whoa! Diana's bright hair gets the cover. Bride's going to see if he can get the cover. The plant's there, and Shiro is all that is trying to buy him a pocket of life here. It's a 3 versus 1. Suzu C with the Alder burrs his way through one, and that was almost... that was almost a clip that would have hit highlight reels that I don't think they would have enjoyed.
See, sometimes we're saying, oh wow, that's incredible trigger discipline coming through. This was just not having seen the player standing still there. Shaiko, of course, bright white hair on a white wall.
It really was like a, wait a second.
Wait, did I just see someone there and then Shaiko just moved into a different area? Like,
if
no,
Shaiko
I didn't.
hadn't have moved and had just turned, Shaiko would have got a free kill there.
He would have, yes.
Iana, tough to see on walls.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Guess we need to nerf her by giving some hair dye or something
Or we'll
like
just
that.
give her a deep tan.
Or that.
Like a tanning booth.
Still, the hair though is it was the problem out there. Don't think you you fixed that with tanning, but
A hat.
a hat could work. Yes, no, surely.
It's
Like a beanie or something.
Yeah.
It's cold out here.
Cold weather in Montreal. If anyone is coming to Montreal for Final Days.
Yes.
Pack warm. It's cold.
I mean, it's not minus 52 cold like it was before, but it's still definitely cold. Like, you don't want to underestimate it.
I forgot my hat. I got a hat.
You forgot your hat?
Yeah, I got a hat for Christmas. From a Canadian friend, ironically.
I'm actually going to say, like, you getting a hat for Christmas and then forgetting it is probably the most Emmy thing I've heard.
Yeah, that was a lovely hat.
You still have it, just
keeping my house warm. All right.
Important as well.
Hey, Ossa, what can you do here? See if you can try and break some control. We've seen a bit of Ossa play. I really enjoy seeing her on this map. I think with those sort of walkways, the gangplanks, there are some straight lines that sort of dig your way all the way across. This is one of them. Our Cully, he wants to try and lean in on a fight, but he's quite isolated. Suddenly, a grenade is caught out. The first has gone, but they brought themselves a lot in the pockets before, and they have a lot in the pockets this time. A smoke goes as well, I'm assuming to burn any follow-up, but look at this, our Cully, he's trying to get himself a little bit of width, concerned of some of what might come behind him. Gator is still buying some attention on those east stairs, but they have a ping at least on this player, tucked in on the side of break. Black Ray gets one on a Lems, though, before he's actually able to slip his way back around.
Not the response that was needed from BDS there. They knew what the player was. They tried to set up for a double push, but the kill came through and not the response from BDS. And well, that's definitely going to be costing them. Proximity alarm is given away. The fact that the player is out there. See a pre-play C4 being prepared here, and Arcully is going to be given a call when to blow that up to Scissor C. Should be resulting in another kill to come through. He fell back into Fountain. He's really trying to make sure that they still have that top floor under control, or at least can fight to take it in control. Lickfax is going for some pre-fires, not really connecting to anything, and BDS not really having anything to work with here as of yet. Just a minute and 15 left on the clock.
Yeah, that's the danger here right now. Is border, as we said, it can be paper thin. You sometimes spend a while setting up, but it gives the players a lot of loose movement they can make. They've got eyes on the site. They've got to drive towards it. These armies done some rebuilding and restructuring, but with Ranchero suffering and getting picked apart by the impact of Pokeballed at the end of it, BDS's time is sort of getting slimmer and slimmer. He's going over the top to try and find a fight. Shaiko just takes a tear there with Black Ray getting a bit of revenge. French revenge. Bride gets a little bit more for the revenge, but they're still looking for this. The player inside, rebuilding, restructuring, the architect that is in the 2 versus 2. I've talked about the importance of that verticality so many times when it was in the pockets of BDS. Now they're going to see if they can try and drive against it, pull themselves back down without it against them.
Should be aware of the fact that Gator is inside the side. It is going to be the shield set up. That's definitely going to be the giveaway here to Gator. If they manage to find a scale, they could go for a plant, but it's Anaton over the shoulder that provides him the cover that is necessary. Lickfax now in a 1v2 situation with 7 seconds left on the clock. He's going to get taken down as well. Gator gets that final kill, and that is going to be Cyclops extending their lead to 3-5.
For the first time, Cyclops have threaded 2 rounds in a row across this and the previous map, and they've given themselves a bit of a distance here on the showdown. They've got some lock-in. BDS, they're aware of it. They don't want to find themselves sitting on map point. They want to try and break the momentum, make sure Cyclops' 2 doesn't turn into 3, because to be fair, it's close, but they keep just losing a little bit of intel, a little bit of an idea of how they've got themselves set up. That kill over the shoulder, it was a bit of a shoulder jiggle peek they gave the game, tucked themselves back in. They didn't expect the other player from the bathroom door to be watching all the way across the fight. So suddenly they've gone, no, we've given them not a freebie, but it should have been a little bit more of an anticipation of this extra player.
It should have been, but it wasn't there, unfortunately, for BDS. Right now, they need to get 2 rounds in a row to make sure they stay even with Cyclops. And as they're headed to ventilation and workshop first, verticality again going to be the name of the game here. Want to get that under control, otherwise the plan's probably just not going to be happening. But we'll see how they'll play it out, because what's been the issue so far is just Cyclops. Like, BDS clear part A of the map.
Yep.
Then they move on to part B of the map. And then Cyclops decides, you know what, it's time to retake part A again, which just has been cleared and now left by BDS. And suddenly they find themselves in the Cyclops sandwich, and it's just not working out for them. Not able to get those guns on the board or kills on the board. The Cyclops turns it back into their own favor, even though they just lost like the entry kill, for example, or they've lost a lot of important ground.
It's just a very dangerous thing about this sort of map, this sort of setup, is that you have the option for movement. You have the option for mobility. There's hatches, there's roots, there's rolls, and there's a lot of softs. You can really pinpoint these deep angles from cuts and corners that are uncomfortable to try and lean in on a firefight. It doesn't quite have, as I talked about, you know, weird architecture, weird structures, formulaic and jazz and skyscraper. Border is heavy metal. Everything is noisy, everything is aggressive, and everything is willing to turn into a fight at the drop of the hat. And they are a team that loves to express themselves across the two-story devastation that it is. They've got to catch on the drone. The Mozzie buying themselves some attention. That one is caught out as well. Now theirs to be used and utilized, but there's probably more pressing things, aka pressure over the side of CC.
As the interkill, BDS have been looking for Gator off the board. That's the Capcan gone. I'm not quite sure how many of the EDDs had been set up, but could still reap back from his grave. That first initial kill is very important, especially in Gator. He's one of those more flexible players that just likes to move around, and not having to worry about him is just going to be an immense relief of pressure on BDS.
Bit of a moment here. BDS, they've taken their time out. What they talked about and what they structured might have been the structure of their approach. Able to take the first fight here, and Shaiko knocking on the door maybe of the second. Anaton sprays round. Here's the break of the wall. They've still got Black Ray inside CC as well, but his attention is being paid towards break, and will they be able to pinch out Shaiko? Sprays through the soft and expects somebody to meet. Just the spray through the soft will buy them some time and attention, but it seems like BDS want to focus more on time itself. They're not giving so much as an approach here to Cyclops to take away from them.
Minute 20. BDS still trying to gain some extra ground. Black Ray only just spotted out. Are they going to be trying or able to reply to that at least? Some pre-fires coming through the wall, and there it is. The pickup from Shaiko on the opposite side. That's what I needed to do before. That's that little, well, collapse that we needed from them. CCC will respond on to Renshiro, but Leak Effect already knocking on the door of the actual site, opening up tons of barricades and doorways into the actual site. And if he manages to make it through with a kit, this might just be a planned attempt from BDS to come in.
That's it. Shaiko, you can see, is getting an angle above as well. CCC still pocketed and trying to find a pocket of safety here. They've got a couple of angles towards 90. They might try and isolate that player, or Likefak might just do this. The pings on the one, drop down, rotate, it gets caught out. Anaton, he had a little bit of the blessed siege timing there. He's able to win out a fight in suddenly 30 seconds. So Shaiko has to pull away from the second story and push towards the site itself. He's round the back of a bandit. Arkuli's able to get one more. Alems, the pre-fire comes around, but Shaiko just wins it out, pushes them into a 2 versus 2. So let's see 4 on the board. The kit's still trying to dig its way towards the site. They've seen that there's a fight on the far end. They're going to take it and turn it into a 2 versus 1. The drop comes on the hatch, and they're able to get a Capcan, and that's Brede though! Just gets the cement through in the chaos.
Shaiko did his job there, right? I mean, he managed to pick up 3 of those kills, but as Gator died first and said he might be able to reap one from the grave later on. It's exactly what happened there, bringing it closer than they might have liked it to be. Also, Likefak potentially got a bit too aggressive out there. No real support to go for an instant trade if he would be to die on the actual site. Could have tossed it away, but BDS, they hold on for now, 4-5. Bringing that round back, needing one more to make things even. And we're headed back up towards that top floor. This is where East was retaken by Cyclops, basically striking BDS in the back after they had so much control already, and we're looking strong to win that round. So, BDS, what are you going to do to change that? It seems like a line is being brought out. It seems like a Nomad is going to be on the board. Those 2 operators will definitely help you with stopping the movements of Cyclops, or at least make them less effective. But you're also going to be paying attention to Arculi, who's playing on that pulse. Just a simple C4 could be the ender of dreams right here.
5 seconds.
Doubling up with the Frostmats, making sure there's no quick route through. But to be honest, what we saw before there from BDS was slow and steady wins the race. They have themselves a stretch. We saw grenades take care of some of the business from the top floor before, and well, with that potential, they've actually pulled away from anything to catch that directly. They might try and give themselves a little bit more width and expectation elsewhere. We have 4 of those in pocket. We also have the 2 pocket EMPs, which haven't really been too direct of a force here, but it seems like they want to direct their force straight towards the swing onto CC, the pop of the Lion. Black Ray holding off behind the Azami, and there it is. Straight through on the break. They're inside the site. They're looking for the fight itself. Hot droned across the board, and, well, Bride is going to see if he can plant it. The first fight goes either way, and, well, Bride can get this still locked in on the far end, and with the Echo off the board, nothing can stop it. A post plant, all within a breath, and now it's a 4 versus 2. Renshiro almost caught out in the approach background. Bride does get a very important pick on the site itself, and there's Renshiro heavy hitting, but cannot quite slip the way away. They've just got to get the kit, and BDS tried to give them the Cyclops special, but unfortunately that is only brewed in Cyclops affiliated stores.
So this, counter defense should be coming in just momentarily. They have it. A final kill comes in. The pace was there. They found themselves through, but they weren't able to deal with the player in the small office quickly enough, and they just gave enough time to Cyclops to deal with the push that was coming through. Just enough time to get them in an instant reply area, position, timing. And now it's map point for Cyclops. They want to take a point at least, preferably 3 from BDS. But it all starts with this next round. Bathroom Tellers. If they manage to win this one, they will be pushing us to a map 3, and with that, we'll be making sure that they at least take a point home from this game. Put themselves on the scoreboard. Allow themselves to stay in a fight for the top 4 position. Because that's all that matters in the group here. If you end up 5th, you're out. And of course, I have to say it, first has a different kind of seeding, 2nd and 3rd have a different seeding, so does 4th. But making it out of groups is the most important part, first and foremost. And every point counts for that.
Every single one. It's
maybe every round.
Every fight matters.
Every kill.
Every
bullet fired.
Every breath you take.
Every step you take.
I'll be watching you.
Yeah.
You may think we missed the line there, but actually, Easy, our observer, piped in down our heads to get.
Oh, did he? I didn't hear that.
Oh, yeah, it did it to me now because I was playing. Yeah, Easy was helping us sing that song now. Anyway.
So nice of him.
Cyclops, can you take this? It is their map. They're pushing themselves closer and closer to a potential 3rd, I think it would be the 3rd map series in a day. The final one is Oregon against BDS isn't easy. Doubling up the Claymores, the first one hides the 2nd. You can get a big pop and reveal with the play around, hoping to get the catch on a bit of a swift movement. The distance there, Nook drawing some attention towards themselves, and look at this pace though, Ranchiro. Ooh, that one won't quite pop off. The mute jammer just on the other side, we'll keep that sitting pretty for now.
As soon as that mute jammer gets destroyed though, that's when that drone blows up. So as an attacker, you have to be a little bit careful there. If you remove that utility, make sure no one is quite close. Anyway, the tension has been opened up. BDS still trying to approach from the eastern side, eastern top side rather. Taking offers under control seems to be their, well, main priority here. And the castle barricades definitely do help, provide them with some freedom. Just afraid of the fact that someone could be using the break room balcony to fire back at them.
Look at that, the Flores drone rolled through just as the player was going for a swing. Give Shaiko a little bit more awareness of this, the pressure. They have the upside down rappel. They got sprays through every single bit of soft, and they want to bounce grenades over the top. The Nook
what timing
just comes around the corner, and Hyagata didn't quite get the full slip and see of that. It's a fight on the window and a drop grenade. Anaton, he's trying to hold on for dear life. Hyagata's taking it, and Black Ray gets one more over the top of the rafters with Alems. Finally stemming and stopping some of the blood that's otherwise popping across the board inside the waiting room, but he is only waiting for death. If he sits steady for now, he's got to try and recuperate, rebuild with Bride, and see what they have ahead of them. A minute and a spray through a couple more soft. We talk about how dangerous this map can be, how sort of tricky it is to go for this fight, and they're going to make sure they don't get caught the same way they did before on the door.
Moving through, knowing someone is going to be inside the customs, but as Alems is taking some ground, he finds himself near the site. Opening will be made with the RC Rotero. Is going to be at least putting up a bit of extra pressure, an extra way in for the attackers to utilize. We're still on the 2-on-4, 40 seconds left on the clock, and Cyclops, they're doing what they need to do. Nothing, just sitting still, waiting for BDS to make the move.
Well, this is the one thing, they're holding it without the verticality. For the importance, I talked about it before, they open up the castle and make things a little bit more dangerous here for the players trying to make an approach. That is a very clever bit of use of utility. It makes BDS suddenly have no safety in approaching the wall itself. The one thing that they do have is a man advantage, and they're making sure that it's tricky for them to dig their way through. Brede sees the first fight, takes it, doesn't see the second, and we will see the third. Cyclops, they look out their map, they take a guaranteed point from BDS. Can they take more?
That point is going to be the most important thing. Both of them have a single point now, looking to find the other two to be gained in this game. And with that said, Cyclops, they fought back here in Border. They showed why they like to play this map. And they're here to fight. They're here to stay. They're here to get out of groups. And Oregon will decide.
I mean, that's it. It's